What is an uncontested divorce and how does it work? How is this different from a regular divorce or a contested divorce? Does an uncontested divorce mean you automatically get a divorce by default? Hi, I'm Sergio Cabanas, managing attorney of the divorce and mediation law firm right here in South Florida. Today's question is, Sergio, what exactly is an uncontested divorce right here in Florida? And how does that process work? Well, generally, an uncontested divorce is simply a divorce that's properly settled before any of the parties initiate any type of formal legal proceeding in the court system. This usually means that both parties agree on the important terms of the divorce and properly document it. For example, the parties may agree on what assets are marital and subject to being divided between them, and those assets that are not marital and not subject to any kind of division. The parties could also agree that on those assets that are marital, how they are to be divided and distributed between them. These assets can usually include the house, investment properties, mortgages, 401ks, and other investment accounts. Also cars, student loans, bank accounts, credit card debts, and any other type of debts. Another important issue may relate to alimony, especially in light of the new laws that just went into effect in July of 2023. So, is anyone entitled to alimony? If so, how much? And for how long does alimony have to be paid? If there are minor children, we also have to resolve issues such as the parental decision-making authority, time-sharing, child support, international travel, relocation, and the list goes on. So if all of these issues are discussed and agreed upon and properly documented in an agreement, the agreement is known as a marital settlement agreement. If there are minor children, these issues are usually settled in a parenting plan. All of these issues can be settled privately, all outside of court. Then, after the parties sign the settlement documents, it's filed with the court along with some other important legal documents as required by law. The judge is then informed of the divorce case and the fact that the parties have reached a full agreement that resolves all of the legal issues and the conditions for the divorce. The judge will then review the paperwork to ensure it's properly completed and enter a final judgment that incorporates the terms and conditions of the agreement to make it legally enforceable thereafter. Of course, it's important to know that the agreement and all of the paperwork that's filed with the court must be properly completed. Otherwise, the judge may reject your request for a final judgment for the divorce, and all of the corrections would have to be made before the judge issues a final judgment. The success of this process generally depends on three factors. Number one, the willingness of both parties to agree on a divorce. It may sound simple, but if one spouse refuses to divorce, an uncontested divorce is not possible. You'll have no choice but to file a divorce and to try to settle thereafter in the case. Number two, to what extent are the parties willing to cooperate with settling on the important terms and conditions for divorce? Point number three, the settlement documentation and the legal paperwork must be properly written and filed with the court. Obviously, it's advisable to have an attorney assist you through this process. So, while an uncontested divorce is usually less contentious and usually less expensive compared to the contested divorce, it does not mean that it is simple. Again, I strongly encourage you to consult with an experienced attorney to make sure your case is properly handled. So, if you need help with your divorce or any other family law matter and you live in the South Florida area, contact us today for your free case evaluation. You can get in touch with us through the links in the description below. I hope this short video provides you with at least some guidance about the process for an uncontested divorce. Thank you again for joining me today, and as always, stay informed so you can stay strong.